Ethnomethodology, developed by Harold Garfinkel in the 1960s, is a way of looking at how people make everyday life appear orderly and predictable. Instead of treating society as if it simply runs on fixed rules, institutions, or structures, ethnomethodology studies the practical methods people use in real time to create that sense of order. It shows that what looks like common sense is actually the product of countless small actions: greetings, pauses, gestures, shared understandings that keep interaction flowing. At its core, ethnomethodology highlights that routines we take for granted are not natural, but are constantly produced. For instance, waiting in line at a bus stop depends on shared judgments about who arrived first, whether someone is skipping, and when it is someone's turn. None of this is written down, yet people rely on unspoken methods to keep the system going. Similarly, in classrooms, the practice of raising hands, waiting for acknowledgement, or whispering to peers demonstrates how order is enacted in small everyday moves. To make these invisible rules visible, Garfinkel created what he called breaching experiments. Students were asked to disrupt normal routines, for example, treating family members like strangers or bargaining over the price of groceries. The confusion and frustration that followed showed just how fragile yet essential these tacit agreements are. Social life depends less on formal rules than on the ability of people to use methods that make sense of situations as they unfold. Applications of ethnomethodology extend far beyond these early examples. In medicine, studies have shown how diagnoses are not just technical acts, but joint accomplishments between doctor and patient. The patient offers symptoms, the doctor frames them with questions, and together they arrive at a shared understanding. In organizations, ethnomethodology reveals how routines are never purely mechanical. Workers improvise, adjust, and reinterpret official rules to keep things moving, which explains why organizations function not only through formal policies, but also through informal methods. In courts, lawyers and judges use subtle cues of speech, gesture, and timing to uphold the impression of impartial procedure. Modern contexts make these ideas even more relevant. On social media platforms like TikTok or Instagram, users create shared order through trends, hashtags, and formats. A dance trend, for example, becomes recognizable not because anyone declares it official, but because people reproduce and remix it according to a set of shared expectations. A breach, such as using the wrong sound or format, immediately marks someone as out of step, just like a breach in face-to-face interaction exposes invisible norms. Remote work and digital meetings add another dimension. On Zoom, people rely on new methods of turn-taking, muting, raising virtual hands, or reacting with emojis. A forgotten mute button or background noise works like Garfinkel's breaching experiments, suddenly exposing the delicate mechanisms that keep the interaction coherent. In hybrid offices, subtle decisions about who speaks first, who owns the shared screen, or who dominates a Slack thread reflect the active production of workplace order through both social and technological means. Gaming communities provide further examples. Multiplayer games require coordination methods that go beyond formal game mechanics. Players develop unspoken rules about who leads, how readiness is signaled, or how disputes are resolved. When someone deliberately breaks these rules, for example, through griefing, the breach reveals the group's shared but usually invisible expectations. Even automated systems highlight ethnomethodology's insights. When interacting with chatbots or digital assistants, users quickly experiment with words and phrases to figure out how the system understands. These trial and error methods are a way of uncovering the rules of the interaction. When the system produces nonsensical or irrelevant responses, the breakdown highlights the hidden work normally taken for granted. Ethnomethodology has its limits. By focusing so closely on micro-level practices, it can risk overlooking larger structural forces such as power, inequality, or class. For instance, a workplace meeting can be analyzed as turn-taking and shared methods, but ignoring the hierarchy of who is allowed to speak misses part of the picture. Compared with structuralist or functionalist approaches, ethnomethodology resists grand theory. Compared with symbolic interactionism, it is more interested in the nuts and bolts of practice than in broader meaning. In conclusion, ethnomethodology reminds us that order is not given, but achieved. Whether in a hospital, a courtroom, a bus queue, or on TikTok, people work, often unconsciously, to make life coherent. Its strength lies in showing the hidden methods of everyday life, both offline and online. Its weakness lies in sometimes neglecting the larger forces that shape those practices. Still, it remains a powerful way to understand how ordinary people, through ordinary actions, build the foundations of social order in both the physical and digital worlds. Stay tuned for more insights into business and the social sciences. If you found this overview helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on future topics you'd like us to cover. I'm Dr. Dog, wishing you a fantastic day ahead.